Mr. Rahman, you're on mute.
I muted. I'm so sorry. I was talking so much already. Wow. Thank you for letting me know, guys. I'll tell you a story about this one too in a few minutes. Sanjana, can you please read this one for me?
Me?
Yes.
Okay. If a factory can manufacture B computer screens in N days at a cost of $C per screen, then which of the following represents the total cost in dollars of the computer screens that can be manufactured at that rate in M days?
So this is one of the really important questions. I was talking this one before. I did not pay attention to that. I muted. So this question is one really important question because it is from the, in case if you went to the basic schools, we call as the, what do you call it? Unit raise, not rate. This is a really important concept it covers. So it's really important that you guys know how to do these problems. So I want you guys get a little familiar. I'm going to give you some techniques and how to answer this question. I think I spoke with you this one about, but I'm going to go over more time anyways, so that way it feels more easy for you guys as well. Okay. All right, let's go over this one quickly. So that way we're all good to go. Again, I think I gave you this technique before, especially when you see a question like this. Word problem, and you see this like BCM or whatever that one. So you always look at it, from the last to the first, always last to the first. So today I was like in the PSAT level 3 session. I saw one question similar to this as well. So anytime, guys, look at this one on the board. So first, go with the last. I see it as M days. M days. Now look at your question, and then see where do you see this M days, or where do you see the days part in itself. So look for the days part. And when I look at the screen right here, I can see this is N days, but again, how many screens? It says B computer screens in N days. So I'm gonna keep that N days and then B computer screens. Computer screens. Okay, so then I look for the computer screens, and then I see that there is a cost dollars and per computer screen. So one computer screen, and then cost is C dollars. Okay, so one computer screen, C dollars. So unit multipliers, this is the right word for this. So unit multipliers, you might learn that one if you went to the basic schools, and you see a lot of good questions on them. This is key and important. So, and this one will come back again if you want to go to a nursing program, and these questions will come back. So that's the reason they want to test this type of questions. The days cross out, screens and screens cross out. So you make sure that cross out. If that exactly cross out, that means you're totally good to go when you answer this question. So when it cross out everything, so pretty much you're left with whatever you're left with. So it's like C is like M, B, and C on the top, and then N is at the bottom. So that's your answer for this question. Or it could be any different order. That's not a big deal. So it's BMC or CDM or whatever BCM. That's good. Okay, so make sure you guys are good to go with these type of questions as well. Let me see if I can find one more question like that. I think we did a couple of these questions before too. But today our focus will be on the percentages. That's what I'm going to go over on this. So let's go over some percentages. Then we can come back to this as well. Yep.
Could you explain it again? I'm sorry.
Explain it again? Okay, no problem. Thank you for asking. So quickly, as I mentioned to you before, this question is important. You will see on Edge and almost every test, one question like this. So whenever you answer this question, your technique is from the bottom to the top. So from the bottom, you have, see right here, M days. So I will write down that days first. Then look at this question. Which one talks about days? B computer screens in N days. So I'm going to write it down there. B computers and days. The days goes on the bottom. Make sure that always keep that in mind. And then I see the screens, look for the word screens. Like I see a computer screens, cost is C dollars. So C dollars per one computer screen. Now I can see that screens and screens and cross out. So pretty much all the units should be crossed out. If the units are not crossed out, that means you're not simplifying furthermore. So once you have it, M, B, and C, and then the bottom is N. Okay, good? Good to go? Yes, nice. Excellent. Very good. Okay. Now, let's see. Let's see. Since you guys are good with that, so let's go over some more questions. Let's see. Okay. So the last time we talked about it, a little bit of percentages, and then we were kind of like holding on like how to answer these questions. I think I gave you some techniques on the percentages, but again, still we are struggling with how do I, get faster with these questions. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, anytime percent increase, I'm gonna write the last time. Percent increase. When it's percent increase times with, times it with 1 plus x over 100, whatever the percent. And if it is a percent decrease, times with 1 minus times with 1 minus x over 100. This is the very, very simple and an important technique. And some of you guys may know this one already, but if you don't know it, please make sure you know these, okay? And write it down if you are having a small notes that you are writing some important points, and this one should go in that cell, okay? So please write it down, this one, and then we're gonna do one question on this, so that way you guys can feel a little bit more confident with these questions. So what do you mean by multiply, 1 plus x over 100 and multiply, 1 minus x over 100? We can check that one right now. Let's try to answer a question on it. So that way I can explain the technique with the question. Okay. All right, let me put a question quickly here. That one there. There we go. Let's see, any volunteer? Anya, can you please read this one for us?
If the cost of living in a certain city increased by 20% in the 10 years from 1980 to 1990 and it increased by 50% in the 20 years from 1980 to 2000, what was the percent increase in the cost of living from 1990 to 2000?
Okay, let's give it a try. I want you to guys give it a try. Please do not sit and then wait until I'm gonna do it. But I will explain it to you guys anyways, but I want you to guys give it a try and struggle. When you struggle with the problem, you're gonna remember better, okay? So please give it a try first and see if you get a mistake. That's not a big deal. Mistakes are okay, but learning the concept is the important up there. So let's give it a try and see what you guys think. And then I'll go over some techniques as well too. Okay, let's see some answers. That's good. Okay, I see a different answer. That's really good. That means you guys are trying. Okay, that's all right. If you don't know what it is and you have no idea, you can always write it down. Not sure. I'm okay with that, but I want you to guys put your 100%. I don't want you to like, oh yeah, well, he's gonna teach you anyways. I'm gonna sit down and then relax. Please, that's the attitude we need to get away from it, because when you do it, you're using your knowledge, brain power, and also your intellectual thinking, all those things will place, helps you to, okay, this is what this 20% increase. So you're helping to yourself, because when it comes to the test, I am kind of like, I won't be there. So it is you put in efforts and then you get it there. Okay, so let's go over this one. I want you to guys eyes on the screen, so that way we can get through this question nice and neat. Okay, ready? All right, let's pay attention to it. As you see, different answers. That is really good. This is what we want to see. That means it's a good question. And okay, first of all, I'm gonna do this problem without any techniques. And then I want to show you guys, in case if you forgot any of these techniques, and you should know how to work on these without techniques as well. Okay, I'm gonna go over this one without techniques, and then we can look into some techniques as well. Now, first of all, the cost of living is increased by 20 years, right? First is it increased by 20 years. So increased. So let's say cost of living in certain city is $100. Just in case, percentages, it is easy to use it with 100. So cost of living, it's $100. Okay. Now, if from 1980 to 90, what happened? Increased by 20%. So it's increased by 20%. So 20% means I'm going to find out what is the 20% of 100. So 100 times 20 over 100. I'm just kind of like showing you stuff, okay? So that's $20. So if my cost of living is $100, now the new cost of living is 100 plus $20, because that's what the increase is happening. Okay, so the new cost is $120 now. Are you very understanding so far? Any point of time, if you don't understand, please ask. Okay, I will go back and then teach you. Okay? Now that's from 1980 to 1990. But what happened in 1990 to 2000? Now this 1990 to 2000. Again, it went up by 50%. So it increased by 50%. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to find out what is that 50% is. So increase, actually it is 120 now, but it went up by 50%. So I'm going to find out what is that 50% is. So 12 times, that's 60, okay? Now $60 is increased. So now the new cost, or the new cost of living, is, before it was 120, plus it went up by $60 again. So it's totally is 180 right now, okay? So it went up by 180 now. So now we can say, kind of like look at it. So what the question is asking is, what's the cost of living from 1990 to 2000? Okay, so 1990 to 2000. So how much it went up from 1990 to 2000? So if I look at it carefully, okay, so that's good. Wait, did I do something mistake? Let's see. See, these are the reasons these questions are really important, that we need to have a good, interaction with them. Okay, So I think I did a mistake in this problem, if you see carefully. I was looking into 1990 to 2000, but that question says from 1980 to 2000. So 1980 means 1980 is like 100. So my mistake is right here. I'm going to erase that one. Definitely there's a mistake right here. So I'm going to erase this a little piece. That's the reason we need to be very careful with these questions. Now, 50% increase from 1980 to 2000. Okay, 1980 to 2000 is 50%. So if it is $100 at the 1980, now increase is 50%. That means 50 times over. So that's a $50 increase. So $50 means now the new living cost is 150. Okay, so from 1980 to 2000, all the way there. But from 1980 to 1990, that's a 120. And this is 150, the new cost is. So now percent increase is 150, take away 120 over what is the initially, that's 120. So if I take away those two, that is 30 over 120%. So you're looking at the percent, that means times 100. So that's basically, that's 4, that's 25% increase. Percent increase. Okay. So before I go over the technique, do you guys understand this one? Or if anybody wants me to go over one more time, put a thumbs up on the screen quickly, and then I'll show you guys a quick way to do the problem. Okay. Show me thumbs up, everybody, so that way I know you're.
I'm confused.
Yeah, go ahead one more time. What did you say?
It's increasing by 50%, right? So it's increasing by $50. So wouldn't it just be 150 minus 120 equals 30? And
30.
because that's like 30% of 100 is $30. Wouldn't it be 30%?
So $30 is correct, but again, when it says, if the question says, what was the percent increase from 1990 to 2000? If it is from 1980 to 2000, then yes, we can take it out of 100. But since it is 1990, 1990 is 120, so that's your starting cost, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Good. Thank you, guys. Thank you for asking questions. I like that when you ask questions, so that way. But sometimes I mean, we do some mistakes, but again, it's all good now. Okay. So this is the way we look at it. Carefully look at this question and then answer this one. So now we're going to check with the technique a little bit faster. Okay. As on the screen. So I'm going to give you guys some technique. How do you answer these questions? So let's take color orange. Okay. So if I look at it, go back here, it says percent increases, I multiply with 1 plus x over 100. Is that means, let's say my cost is $100 times 20% increase. 20% increase means I want to multiply with 1.2. Everybody understand how I got the 1.2 is? So 20% increase, I'm going to multiply with 1.2. Because 20% increase. So if I multiply that one, I'm going to get $120. Okay, next. Now, this $100, 50% increase. That means 1.5. If I multiply with that, that's 150. Now we're looking at the percent increase. Then you look at a percent increase. Percent increase. So you subtract them, 30, over the initially. That's at the beginning, how much is that? 120. And just find the percent out of this. So that way, this goes 40, 1/4, that's 25%. Okay, so the same question, if you want to do it a little faster, obviously it saves a time when you use that technique of the technique of how you can do the percent increases here using these formulas.
Wait, so how'd you get 1.2?
1.2. Okay, so this is how I got 1.2. So according to the rule formula, you see this is x plus x over 1 plus x over 100, right? So 1 plus x is 20% increase, so 20 over 100. So 20 over 100 is what? 2 over 10, which is what? 0.2, 0.2. So it's basically, if I add these two, that's 1.2. Okay, so that technique will help you to do the problem faster. So as I look at the question, $100, that's 1.2, that's 120, 50% increase, that's a 150, subtract is 30, then it's, 30 to 30 out of 120, that's 1/4, that means 25%. Is that making sense, guys? Good? Yes? Kind of? No? Good? Nobody says anything. It's a good technique, guys. It's a really good technique, okay? And believe me, it saves a lot of time, and it's a lot of the kids, for just by looking at that percentages, first thing they're gonna say like, oh, I'm not gonna work on this question. But if you read the question carefully, and then this is gonna be, much easier for you guys. So look at that, how much time you could save if you know that technique. And that's one of the reasons you guys are here, to learn those techniques and apply on those problems. Then you can do it pretty fast. Okay, so based on the same one, I'm gonna put one more question here, and let's see if you guys can answer this one. Srihan, can you please read this question for us?
Let m be a positive real number, increasing m by 60%, then decreasing the result by 50% is equivalent to dividing m by what number?
I think we did this problem last time, but just let's see if you remember this. Just give it a try, and if not, just I'm gonna go quickly. I started this one last time, but then we didn't finish it. Give it a try. in PSAT, and you will see these type of questions a lot. Good answers. Let's see some answers. Okay, they're coming up. Okay, good. Definitely, this is a little bit tough one. No multiple choices. It's okay. No multiple choice. It's okay if you don't know it, guys. You just write it down. I'm not sure. You can always do that too. Hmm. 1 second, okay? 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Alrighty. So let me go over this problem, guys. Okay, it's a really important one, and let's go over this together. Ready? Eyes on screen. Okay, we'll check. Okay, so we're going to use the techniques. This time I'm not going to do step by step. I mean, it's going to take forever to do this problem, like using these, like writing all these steps. Okay, so instead of that, I'm going to use the techniques. Okay, so using the techniques, but we're going to go step by step. Please, eyes on the screen. You can work on this one later, but let's pay attention to it so that way you don't miss the important information. So m is a positive real number and the m is increased by 60%. So since it is, let's take it anytime they give you a number and take it as a some 100. It's always easy for percentages. Take it as a 100, okay? So if m increased by 60%, increasing means I'm gonna multiply with 1.6. So I am going to multiply a number that's going to be increasing. So I'm going to multiply with 1.6. And then let's say 100, I am multiplying with 1.6, which can get me, basically you can keep it like, that's 160. Now this one decrease by 50%. So this is decreased 160. Decrease means you're going to take away. So 1 minus 1 minus 0.5, it's going to be 0.5. You guys understand this, how I get 0.5 is? Because it's 50% off. Like you only pay half of it. So that's 0.5 of 160, that's 80. Okay, so now this 80, now we're looking at back again, equivalent to dividing m by what number, okay? Dividing m by what number? So if I look at it carefully, basically, if we're taking 100, it's 100 divided by what number? 80. So let's divide these two, you will get the answer for this one, okay? So if I divide these two, that's going to be 1.25. That's the answer for this question. Okay, so there was a question here. Isn't it increase is the plus what we multiply it? That's what we did. So it's increased by 60% means 1 plus 60 out of 100, basically. Yep, question me, please.
So I got a similar answer. I got 1.2, but I did it
Okay.
like completely differently than what you did.
Okay. Can you kind of like tell me how you did it?
Yeah. So what I did was I just took I converted 60% and 50% into their normal decimal number.
Okay.
So I, divided each by 100. So I did m times 0.6 because it's increasing by 0.6 and then divided by 0.5. And then what I did is I kind of took m out of the picture and did 0.6 divided by 0.5, and then I got 1.2.
Okay. So the problem with the method you did, it's like when it is increasing something, you're increasing, let's say you have $100, right? Or let's say you went to the store, or anyway, just let's say we went to the store and there's a t-shirt you want to buy it. It's like, or maybe not t-shirt, but maybe shoes. So there's, $100. First time you went and you saw that like it's $100. And then you thought like, oh, they're expensive, super expensive. I can't buy this. And then next time when you come back again, because of the inflation, it went up by 60%. 60% up. So that means you are paying first 60% of the $100 is $60 plus your $100 at the beginning. So you're paying $160.
Oh,
okay? So you gotta be careful when it comes to the percentages. It will tweak our brains entirely. Okay, so the $60 is increased, and then you pay the $100 plus. That's like that. Let's say if you went to the restaurant and then $10 is your bill, but then you have to pay the tip. Tip is like let's say it's like 5% or 10% is tip. So it's just like that. The tip, we need to add it to it. Okay, makes sense?
Yeah.
And yeah, good. So there's one more. Can you explain it again? Okay, so again, as I mentioned to you, we can go like these. So the cost of living is first 20 and then increase 20% means like $20 and then add that. So instead of that, what we can do, so let's say M is a positive number. Let's say this is 100, okay? So M is increased by 60%. That means now it's 160. But now it went down by 50%. That 100, 160, 50% off, that's 80 now. Now this 80 is equivalent to M dividing by what number? So M dividing by 80, so that's basically 1.25. The M divided by 1.25 will get you 80. Does that make sense, everybody? So that's what it is means. Okay, good. Thank you, guys. You know, this is tough questions, and it's okay if I need to spend more time, even if you answer one or two questions, but still, we're getting the concepts clear, and that is going to help you on the test in a big time. So, and don't feel like if you don't understand, please ask me, and we can go over one time. But it is better to know these really well. Okay. Good to go. So check the question. If you feel good, that's good. If you don't, that's okay. Ask me one more time. We can go over, but should be good to go. All right. Okay. Let's move from the percentages. And also, I think I did spoke with you guys percent increase and decrease, and make sure you guys know those formulas as well. If anytime you want to know the percent increase, always you multiply, like subtract them, and then you write it down the how much is increase is there. Okay, so remember that as well. Like for example, this question. Okay, so percent increase, you subtract from here to here, and then divided by initial price, and times 100. Okay, good. All right, next one. We're gonna cover a little bit of some speed distance problems. I'm going to put that question here. Hopefully you guys can answer this easily. Let's give it a try then. Okay, Janani, can you please read this question for us?
A train travels at an average speed of 50 miles per hour for the first 100 miles of a 200-mile trip and at an average of 75 miles per hour for final 100 miles. What is the train's average speed for the entire trip?
Let's give it a try. See what you guys think. Is Ishani here? Just checking attendance quickly. Yes, please put him in the chat box. Yes. Ishani. Okay, no problem. If you don't know, it's okay. You can write it, I don't know, IDK. That's totally fine. And we are going to go over, but just give it a try, okay? Even if you type it, I don't know, but I want you to play with it. And I'm like, try different ways and see whatever you know, okay? Because that's how you can get better at these questions. Okay. Definitely is a tough question. I haven't got so far the correct answers yet. Okay. Okay. And as I see, so far, still not there, no answer, right answer. It's a good question. If you guys are doing wrong, that means we're putting the good questions also. That's good. 30 more seconds. See if you guys can figure this out. Okay, good, good, very good. Out of all the answers, I got one right answer so far. Tough one, definitely a tough one. Okay, all right, let's go over this. Okay, so please pay attention to this because, again, as I mentioned to you, out of all the answers, one right are two right answers. So, okay, let's go over this. Ready? So you can check your answers as well. Now, the train travels the average speed 50 miles per hour. So first of all, basic formulas for this, and you guys already, you guys already know, distance equals speed multiply time. This is the basic formula, right? You guys know it, DTS or DS, digital sound systems, okay? Or DTS, that's what I remember. Distance equal time multiply speed. And then DTS, you know, in the movies, theaters, it used to be a good technology, DTS, it's like digital sound systems like that. But anyways, but coming back to this one right here, if I need to know the distance, they're asking for the average speed. So the distance over time should give me my answer there, right? So first of all, let's try to understand. A train travels average speed of 50 miles per hour, first 100 miles of 200 miles trip. So the train is starting from here. It's 200 miles up here, maybe the first 100 miles. And then train speed is 50 miles per hour. Okay, the next 100, because the next 200-mile trip, so the next 100 miles, the train average speed is 150 miles per hour, and then first, and then 200 miles trip, and average speed is 75 miles per hour. Okay. We're asking like what could be the total average speed. Now, when you do these problems, you've got to be very careful. And, when you answer this carefully, let's go ahead with this one. Color. So first of all, the total distance is 200 miles. And the first 100 miles is 50 miles per hour. The next 100 miles per hour is like 75 miles per hour. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find out how much time it does take here and how much time does it take here. So if I want to find it, time is 100 divided by 50. Agree, everybody? Miles distance divided by speed gives me time. So that's 2 hours here. And then here, 100 divided by 75, which is 4/3. 4/3 hours. So far, everybody good? Now, if I look at the total time, it's 2 hours plus 4/3, right? 2 hours plus 4/3, which gives me that's 10/3 hours. Everybody following with me? What did I do? I picked up the times. I added the time. The total time is 10/3 hours. Now, since I know the time and I know the total distance is 200 miles, so I'm going to find out the speed now. So the speed is distance over time So the distance is 200 because that's entire distance. And then entire time is 10 out of 3, which is, yeah, just do the math. It's basically 60 miles per hour. MPH. Okay. That's the answer. So just look at it and see if you guys are good to go, or feel like not sure this one, I don't know how to get this. You can ask me. Danesh, yes.
When they ask for average speed, can you not just do 75 plus 50 over 2 to get the average speed combined?
No, we can't do that.
Why not?
Oh, why not? Okay. So because when it comes to the average speed, you cannot add the speeds like that. Okay. And
Okay.
Because 50 plus 75, you're not going 125 miles per hour.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So yeah, especially this is the reason we look at it, this question particularly. When it comes to that average speed, you always go with the how much total distance, and then how much time you took, and then you can get the answer. Okay.
Okay.
Good
Thank
question.
you.
Check it. Everybody's good to go. It's a really good one. Yeah, Prisha, go ahead.
Where did you get the 4/3?
4/3 from here. Let me see. I can show you the pointer. 1 minute. Let's see. Let me see if I can use a pointer. Okay. Can you see the pointer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This. See from time here. Time is distance over speed. 100 divided by 50. That's what the. Then here is 100 divided by 75. That's 4/3.
Oh, okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, so obviously I explained it. It took a longer time, but once you do these problems on, with the test, it's going to be super fast as well. So when I see this average speed, always go with the simple terms like, the first 100 miles is 50. So 50 and like 100 divided by 50, that's 2 hours. And then in the next 100 miles is 75. So that's 3/4 hours. So the total time is, 4/3 plus that's to 10/3. And then the total average speed, so that's 200 times 3/10, that's 60. That's how you're going to pick it up the speed. But I want to explain it so that way we went over slowly. Okay, so these are the different time distance problems as well. Okay, we covered really good type of questions today. Make sure you guys are going to go over multiple times. You're going to forget these easy, but I want you guys to retain it more. So I'm going to put one easy one. Camila, can you please read this one for us?
Did you say Samira?
Camila.
Oh, okay.
Or you can go, it's fine.
If x squared minus 2x plus plus 1 over 2 minus 2x is equal to -3, what is the value of x -1?
So they gave you x squared minus 2x plus 1 over 2 minus 2x is -3. What could be the value of the x minus 1? And question looks hard, but it's pretty much, it mostly depends on factoring. Okay, let's give it a try. I know you guys can do this. Okay. Okay. Make sure you guys work on with the factors. Good, very good. Good job. Let's see. Okay. That's strange. I have a lot of people giving 0 as the answer. Let's see. Okay. We'll check. Okay. Because everybody should work and then put your answer. If you don't know it, you can just put I'm not sure, I don't know, I'm stuck or whatever, but I need to see something on the chat box. Okay. Jihan, I don't see any answers from you. Vicky, try, you guys are trying, I guess, probably. Okay, no problem, no stress. Still trying, okay, good. Oh, wait. I am not sure, did I mention to you guys in the last class? One of our students, she got a 1490 on the first try, 1490, and another kid gets 1540, and they're going to take one more time and get hoping the better score than the previous one. So again, kids are getting good scores, and as you guys can possibly, you can get that scores as well. But only thing is like need a commitment and the speed you guys are doing it, and then learn those techniques. That way you can pick up the speed, and then once you pick up the speed, you get that confidence itself. Okay, please put that in the plan. Okay, let's go over this. I see a lot of different answers. Right. Eyes on the board. Eyes on the screen. Get used to it. Eyes on the board. Okay, so before I tell or teach this question to you guys, no 2 answers, only 1 answer. Okay, quickly, there's the rules that we need to go over. Okay, so first of all, there is some easy formulas: a plus b whole square, which means a plus b times a plus b, which means a square plus 2ab plus b square, if you expand it, use the FOIL method. Okay, and a minus b whole square, which means a minus b times a minus b, which is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Then in the same row, this another one is called perfect squares, or difference of perfect squares, a squared minus b squared, which is a plus b times a minus b. Because this one also goes to your running notes. So quick notes if you're taking, please make sure you have these rules. I'm not sure if you guys are a little bit older, maybe your parents may know. There's a one movie song on a squared plus b squared, the formula itself. So, okay. All right, eyes on that. So in order, if I can see this one, definitely this piece on the top, it's the x minus 1 times x minus 1. So if I find the factors for this one, I want to get a positive 1. I want to get a negative 2. That gives you 1 times 1, but I need to get both negatives. So that way, when I multiply, I get a positive 1. But when I add or subtract, I get negative 2. So the factors for the top one, x minus 1 times x minus 1. Everybody understand that? Next, in the bottom, what I'm going to do, I'll factor out the 2. So if I factor out the 2, I get 1 minus x equal 3. But since this is x minus 1 and this is 1 minus x, they're not the same. So what I'm going to do, I can basically multiply by a negative. Okay? So I'm going to multiply by a negative. So if I multiply this one by a negative, So what I'm going to get is this becomes, I'm going to leave that on top. Or if I can factor out the negative also, that's going to be a -2 x minus 1. You understand how I get this? If I distribute it, negative times x is -x. Negative times negative is +1. And which is -3. So I think I can cross out one of the x minus 1s. And then I cross multiply it. So I get x minus 1 is +6. No. Okay. X minus 1 is the +6. And then add 1, x equal 7. Okay? But they're asking only x minus 1 only. So your answer is 6. They're not asking for x, right? So we don't give the x value. So your answer is 6. 6 is your answer. Okay. And can one of you guys tell me how you got the 0 is the answer? Like if you want to explain, I want to see what thinking or what thoughts you guys are. No, that's all right. That's okay. No stress. But now you know how to do this problem. Just pay attention to this. So if the same question comes under the test, this is what you got to do. Since I'm kind of like explaining to you, but it would take a longer time. But if I do this problem on the test, I see x squared minus 2x plus 1. It's in this format. So it's going to be x minus 1 times x minus 1. As soon as I saw at the bottom is 2 and then minus 2, I take the factor out the -2. That's going to be x minus 1. Cross this out. That's +6. And that's what they're asking. You're done, basically. Okay, so that's the technique and a faster way of doing this problem. Good, makes sense? Yes.
Since x minus 1 is like a factor of this, shouldn't it be equal to 0?
But in case if the other side is 0, then it could be 0. Okay.
Oh, okay. So like it's asking when the other factor is 0, what's this factor? Oh, okay.
Right. Like normally when we do the quadratic equations, like when you get a factors equals 0, that means one of them equals 0. That's a condition we set up each is 0. But in this case, the other side is not a 0. We're just basically they're asking like, hey, what number, what is this x minus 1 is equal to be? That's what they're asking. Okay, good. Okay, good work. Oh man, it's 103. Thanks for the answer. Okay, so I'm gonna pause. I want to ask you all really good questions out there, but we covered as much we can see. Those you forgot on these topics. In the next week topics, a lot of you guys are gonna do faster because we're gonna start algebra. Okay, so which is really, really important in PSAT. And also this, the whatever we did today, that is also a big chunk, not a big chunk, but it's part of the test. And a lot of you guys are, you're done with algebra too long time ago, and you may forget the stuff, but now it's a good time to recollect and go over the notes multiple times. I know some of you guys mentioned that the video is not playing to you. I don't know, for some reason I upload it on the YouTube and then send you guys a link. I'm hoping this is gonna work, but let me see. I'm gonna just try to see what else I can do with the settings because I'm not that tech savvy as you guys. So, but I try my best, and but that's one of the reasons I send the notes to you guys. Oh, it works. Okay, good. Okay, awesome. So just you can always check it because just by looking at the PDF documents, it doesn't make any difference to you. But when you look at the video, basically like what I'm talking about at that point of time, and what I'm talking about how to do shortcuts. So it always gives that extra feel of live through the class, and then you retain more. And just again, one more time, I want to say this to you guys. These questions are similar questions, okay? And from one question, you should bring the concept together. If you see a similar type of questions, you should be able to answer them efficiently. And I'm trying to give you them as much similar problems and as well. Okay, so let's get to a break. That means 10 minutes break. 10 minutes timer. All right, let's take a little break. Okay, so when it comes to the language or the author's language, so we always see in our reading passages, there is a one question says, what is the meaning of this word, or tone of the passage, tone of the author, all right? Tone, a tone of the particular word, or they can say, and also they can say, based on the context and what is this phrase. So those questions you do see on this, in reading passages. But how do you take care of these word and context questions? The word and context. How do we take care of these word and context questions? So first of all, when you see this word and context questions, I'm going to put one question here quickly. So that way we can kind of like try to understand, what does this mean, like that, okay? So let me see. I'll put one question. Okay, so if in the passages, if you go to line 24, so if you look at the line 24, there is a word called decline, okay? So let's see, where is it? Decline, on the previous passages. Okay, so now let's look at it one at a time. Like for example, line 40, you see this is the, where is that one? Moral. See? Yeah, this one right here. I'm going to underline that one. Okay, so there is a one question. Last class we look at it. There's one question that says, what is in the line 40? What is the moral nearly means? Okay, we kind of like looked into that question also, but you will see questions like this on the test, right? They will give you a word. They ask you, what does that means? Most nearly means. So how do we take care of these type of questions? Okay, so when it comes to the word and context, okay, all right. So when it comes to the questions like that, the verbal inferences, okay. So basically, the verbal inferences like skill, that is like your ability to determine the meaning of the word and based on the context, okay. So this is basically your ability to determine the meaning of the word, okay? So based on the given situations, basically, okay? So, sometimes, let's say, decline, okay? And maybe in the last passage, we talked about one word called decline. So it says like in line, blah, blah, blah. What is the word decline nearly means, okay? So decline nearly means. So if I see this, this word is not really challenging, right? So decline is really easy, but it is an ambiguous word. What does that mean? It has a variety of meanings, okay? So it has a variety of meanings. Like for example, decline. What is the meaning of decline? Can you guys put me in the chat box? What do you guys think? Whatever you guys think. What's the meaning of the decline? Okay, to say no, to lessen or decrease or rejection or something. Lessen, okay. Okay, to not accept, okay, right, reject, okay. there are a lot of different meanings there. Like, for example, it could be politely refuse. Okay, or if you were, yep, decline, okay, or it can be diminishing in strength, it depends. In strength, or down, or move downwards. Okay, so all these are different meanings, isn't it? Like, you know, I see a lot of meanings for the decline, but which one is the correct answer? So that is always, it's a word in context. Always you choose the answer depends on the context. Okay, what context are we talking about? So how do you take care of this question? How do you attack those type of questions? So this is how you need to take care of this. First, reread the sentence in the word that is used. Okay, reread the sentence that is in that, you know, that line. Okay, reread it carefully. Okay, and again, next, once you reread it, you know, once you read through it, and then you once you're done that, like reading that the line there, and then recall what's the purpose of that paragraph. Okay, recall purpose of the paragraph. Okay, and what is the meaning on that sentence? Okay, what is the specific meaning of that sentence, basically? So then whatever you're going to think, you know, then you look at a specific meaning. Specific meaning of that sentence. So I'll repeat it. So if you have a questions like these, in line 40, what model nearly means. So these type of questions, they're always, you know, based on the context. Just like a decline, it's not a big deal word, but again, it could be, you know, politely you're refusing it, or it's like moving, downgrading, or diminishing strength. But again, how do you decide? And how do you take care of them? You're going to reread that sentence, which the word is given to you, and think of the paragraph as a paragraph. What's the purpose of this paragraph? And based on that, look at any specific meanings to it. And once you have that, and then think a word or phrase, and then see that can replace, but still, you know, it gives you the same meaning. You know what I'm saying? So then what you do, think a word or phrase that could replace the word without changing the meaning of the sentence. Okay, so replace a word, think of a word or a phrase, replace the word without changing the meaning. Okay, without changing the meanings. And then look at it out of the choices, which one does fit really good, and then use that, then you should be good to go. Everybody understand this? Whenever you see a question, the word in context, or what is that nearly means, you always look at it and reread that sentence one more time, then recall the purpose of that paragraph, and then see what specific meaning can it available, and then think of a phrase or word that you can use it without changing the meaning of it, and then look at the choices, which one is that one, and then put that up there. That is how you're going to take care, especially these type of questions. Okay, and then let's say if I choose my answer, okay, And then once I choose my answer, and then what you're gonna do, read the sentence with the replaced word. Does that make sense? So once all these steps are done, and then read the sentence again with the replacement. So once you read that replacement, and then that sounds okay to you, you did the right answer. Okay, and that should convey the proper meaning and tone as well. Okay, so and also make sure it follows the standard English idioms as well. Okay, so that's why you can answer these questions pretty easily. Okay, that's how you tackle these type of questions. Now let's look at a word in context question. Modal merely means. I know some of you guys already answered that there. So if you look at this, modal means there are so many different meanings, basically, many different ways. Like let's see. Okay, so humans, modal can be like, so great is merely mortal, means like he's a human, like that. It's like the cough. Let me see. Put some words together. The coffin contains a dog's mortal remains, so that means it's earthly. So it's a lot of different meanings for each word that you can choose. So for example, human, right? So this human, basically, let's say merely mortal, right? That merely mortal, if I see merely mortal, so that means human, okay? But if it is the earthly, like the coffin contains dog's mortal remains. The coffin contains, I'm gonna write it simply, but you guys know, mortal remains. So in this context, the mortal remains, that's earthly, okay? So that's earthly, in case if I look at it in that context. And then if I say the bitter is basically, they were mortal enemies. They were mortal enemies. Then it is bitter, basically, okay? But like, for example, the infection turned out to be a mortal one. That means it's a fatal, basically, okay? So the infection like turned out to be a mortal one means that's basically fatal. So obviously depends on the context. Like for example, this question, if I go back and I put a 40, so give a quick peek, and then and we can talk about this too. So in this one, if you look at it, so let's see. Understanding of the context is really important. Like for example, if you look at it close to here, and then never will the doctrine of spontaneous generations arise from these moral below. So this means the doctrine is dead as an opponent who has a break and it has been stuck with the sword. Okay? So in that case, the context says the mortal means is fatal. Okay, so that's the right answer is D, because of the contextual clues. The contextual, we'll talk about it, and that's how you guys are going to take care of these. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? How do you answer these type of questions? This is how we're going to take care of it. Like you're going to see different types of questions. How do you attack those questions? And then if you know those techniques, at the end is when you read this one, we're going to put it together. And then you're going to do best for these type of questions. Okay? And sometimes, all good, word in context. And sometimes you see a question like tone of a passage. Okay, next one, tone. tone. How do you take care of when they ask like, what is the tone of this, the author's attitude, or at the tone of the lines from here to here, those type of questions, or maybe author's attitude towards the, whatever. So how do you take care of these questions? Now we're gonna look at it. Like whenever you have in the PSAT or the SAT, when you see the tone questions or attitude, tone or attitude. Okay. So basically, when you're reading questions, they ask you the tone or attitude. They're basically the passes as a whole or particular words or phrases. That's what we are basically looking at. Like, for example, in the previous passages, the author's attitude towards the critics, the lines, blah, 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 as you can best describe. Or you can say the tone of the line, blah, 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 and is one of that, like that, okay? So you see those type of questions as well, okay? So if you see that type of questions, what you're gonna do, first, make sure, recall the overall tone of the passage. How do you take care? First, recall overall tone of the passage. Okay, and then think how the specified portion fits into that overall tone. Okay, again, when you see this type of question, they can say like, hey, what is the author's attitude towards the particular, or maybe from line from here to here, what's the tone of it? So, and you see that type of questions, you're gonna think of the overall tone of the entire passage, and then whatever the word they give you, let's say critiques, what is the attitude towards the author's attitude, then you're going to see the particular specified portion, how is it going to fit on the overall tone. Okay, so, and then once you look into it, then it makes more sense to you. Okay, like for example, the questions about the tone, like voodoo practices and all those things, and basically you kind of understand the tone of the entire passage and how that small piece fits the entire overall tone. If that doesn't sound correctly, then it is not your right answer, okay? But how do you see most of the tones in general? Let's say if it is if a passage or the essay is the expository, okay? So expository essays, and they always have a voodoo practices. And then let's say if I have expository, if you have an expository essays, basically you might have some objective tone. Okay, objective tone. And then let's say if you have a rhetorical, essays, it's basically there will be a distinguishable or distinguishable, yeah. Full tone. And then if you have a narratives, okay, if you see a narrative passages, basically the tone will be sometimes is like affectionate, like caring and all those things, affectionate tone, you see it, okay? So it's always remember, don't assume that author's attitude, the topic has to match with your own attitude, okay? And never fall for that. You have your own ideas about the passage when you read it. That doesn't need to be matched with the author's attitude. Remember that, okay? Because when you read it, you're reading keep in mind that you're reading somebody's face, somebody's paragraph, but they wrote it. So you're thinking author's attitude, not yours. You may agree with whatever he says, or you may not agree with it. Doesn't matter, but again, always think of how he does it. Okay, so yeah, be careful with that. So anytime before you choose any answers, and look at the strong tone, like alarmism, glorification, or disgust, and those can justify your answers just by literal evidence from the passages. Okay, so please be careful when you answer the tones questions. So I want to make sure you guys will pay attention to it. Okay, and also there's one more. Pay attention to the voice of the speaker. Okay, does the line or the question represent any opinions about the authors or the opinion of somebody else's? Okay, so it's always look at a author's point of view, and just pay close attention to the voice of the speaker. Pay attention to voice of the speaker. Okay, so just like that. Okay, all right, let's see. I think I know we did one of the paragraph in the past. I'm gonna put a question kind of like related to that. Okay, Aryan, can you please read this one for us? Janani, can you please read this one for us?
In the final paragraph, the author characterizes early Earth primarily as.
So in the first or second exercise we did one of them, and it says like in the paragraph, the author characterizes the early Earth as primarily as. So in that case, first of all, what type of passage is that? And then what you're going to do, what's the object, the overall purpose? So first, what type of passage? Come on. First is what type of passage? And then what you're going to do, you're going to look at the overall purpose. Okay, so the overall purpose, you're going to check on it. And then also it's just make sure it's author's point of view, and then it's not your point of view. You just always look at author's point of view, and then just still use the same language, and then convey that tone. And then always look at it, the final paragraphs, and then it says early Earth is described like the chemical rich, if you remember those. So that's how you kind of like go look at it and make sure you answer those questions carefully. Always look at the author's point of view, not your own points or anything like that. Good? Very good. All right, did I speak a lot, talk a lot? Today I spoke a lot, or is that talking yet? Okay, good. Nice. So what I was gonna do right now, I am going to give you guys a quick passage. What's right now? 3:38. Okay. I want to give you guys a passage, but let's see if I have enough time for that. But let's look at it. 1 second. Let me pull some passage for you guys. Let's chit chat in between. How is the school going? Any volunteers to tell me how is the school going? Any friends? Stuff? No? I'll ask one of them. I'll ask one of you guys. Let's see. Nikita, where is she? Nikita, tell me how's school going?
Nikki's in the bathroom.
Okay, you can tell then, Nandi.
Oh, me? School's okay, I guess.
Okay.
It's a lot of work and some
For sure.
lots of homework.
Yeah, for sure, it's going to be a lot of work that you guys need to go over them. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this, and we did this one kind of like explored it last class, but you guys can answer this quickly. Let me see, chat box. There you go. Okay, everybody in the meeting. There we go. All right. I sent it to you guys one Google form. Please put your information. It won't take no more than 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. So let's take that time, answer the passage, and put your answers and submit it. Okay? All right, let's get there.